Aqua Tail removes Rhyperia from the field of play. But don't worry, trainer. We've got another Mud Slapper. Golruk comes in, gets that farm down. The opponent still has Gator alive, but the Art Energy Drive. The opponent sends back out Gator. Gator going to be straight in and straight out. Dynamic Punch. Going to be moving Gator from the field of play. What is that third? Out comes Drapion. The opponent looks to fire up the crunch, and there's the catch right on cue. Welcome back to the channel. It is no secret that I am not a huge fan of the Great League, or at least I haven't been for the past few seasons, and that is because it has turned into a horrible RPS nonsense meta with people running absolute toxic teams, like you can see an example of on the right hand side, which was a battle I played today. The team I was facing, of course, is Diggersy, a double charm. I literally threw up in my mouth. You've also got the old classic Grasshole Bastiodon with two grass types, mostly Razor Leafers, just looking for alignment and looking to fast move beat teams down. The most annoying, without a doubt currently, a team that's been running around for a few seasons since Mudslap got buffed is Wigglytuff double Mudslap. Today we got a featured battler who was battling on my Discord, and he was actually running a meme team of Fairy double Mudslap in the Ultra League, just for some entertainment. However, this meme team turned out to be the dream team, and you're going to see that this strategy can also work in the Ultra League. Without any further ado, let's get into the battle. And in game one, I'm very pleased to say today's featured battler is opting for a Fairy, not running Charm, leading Enamorus into Skeleadge. Not fantastic, but two very good answers in the back. We throw one Fairy Wind, transfer the Incinerate onto Golruk. Golruk hits the field of play, goes straight for the Shadow Punch, winning the charge attack priority, and Golruk instantly forces the first Protect Shield of the game. Unless the opponent full send a Shadow Ball or a Blast Burn, Disarming Voice and Torch Song both survival. The opponent throw the Torch Song, then send out Gator. Anamorous re-enters the arena with shield advantage, and I really hope we go straight Grass Knot. Anamorous with a monstrous attack stat hits incredibly hard. I don't think a Fly will be lethal. We correctly shot the Ice Beam, but he's funny though. Gonna opt for the Fly. Perhaps I'm wrong. Fly, oof, doesn't quite get the job done, meaning we're forced to throw back to back to deny Gator's energy. The second Fly does remove Gator from the field of play. Back out comes Skeleadge. In comes Riperia. Riperia looking for that Mudslap farm down. The opponent saves Skeleadge and send out Florges. We go straight for the Rock Wrecker. Rock Wrecker, a busted move. Holy! Instantly rocking this Florges into the red health. Riperia, smelling blood, gonna shield up the Trailblaze. Mudslap farm down Florges. Back out comes Skeleadge and Trainer. I promise you need to Shadow Ball. The opponent throw the Torch Song, which simply does nothing. Riperia Mudslap farms down, and we're off to a very quick 1-0 start. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see a Change of Fortune. Dragonite, normally very oppressive, it's Dragon Breath damage, but hitting double resisted against Enamorous. The opponent saves switch into Ampharos, and we send out Riperia. We invest the Protect Shield, blocking up the Trailblaze, and I have zero doubt in my mind that double super effective move would have knocked us out. We then fire off the Breaking Swipe, removing Ampharos from the field of play. Back out comes Dragonite, but Riperia still not done. Gonna fire off the Breaking Swipe, the first Breaking Swipe, force the Protect Shield. Despite this being Shadow on Shadow Crime, Dragon Claw should be survivable, but the question is, can we reach the next Breaking Swipe? The opponent looking for that Dragon Breath farm down. Riperia holds strong, reaches the next Breaking Swipe. The opponent unwilling to two-shield. Riperia almost removes him from the field of play. We attempt to snipe with Enamorous. The snipe attempt is unsuccessful, and Skeleadge hits the field of play. Skeleadge instantly rocked below half health with the Fly. We then farm up, throw the next Fly on the charge attack priority. The opponent forced to invest a Protect Shield, and Golruk should be home and dry. We see the instant no-shield deploy, which of course is the correct decision. We can just send out Golruk, go for the one shield, Mudslap farm down, Dragonite solo. They're going to get double resisted Mudslap farm down as well, but it looks like our feature battler has other ideas. Looking for them style points, makes the catch, back onto Riperia. Dragonite dies to the double resisted Mudslap. Skeleadge gets Mudslap farm down, and we take that game. Very, very nicely done. In the next battle, we see a fantastic lead. Despite our Fairy Winds being resisted, we have the ability to S-Cavalier for big neutral damage, whereas the opponent can pretty much only hit for resisted, unless they've got like Aerial Ace or Acid Spray, which would be a bit random. It looks like I talked that one to existence. We get Acid Spray to the face, we see the pivot into Golruk, and the opponent sends out their own Riperia. I thought Riperia was a spicy pick. Apparently not, but I'm not entirely sure why the opponent would counter switch Riperia into Golruk, unless they've got Surf. The opponent doesn't surprise nuke me for the second time. Not that Acid Spray is particularly a nuke, I'll be honest. I'm just very bamboozled here. We force both protections of Riperia, Mudslap farm them into the red health range, and we send back out Anamorous. The opponent is going to have to expend a Rock Wrecker to pick up the knockout. They go for the Breaking Swipe bait. We pivot into our own Riperia and out comes Squidward. The opponent only go for an acid spray. Our featured battler knows how to count. He's been to school. He is not shielding. No silly acid spray bait. Riperia going to heavily overfarm. Fire off the Rock Wrecker. Is it necessary? Super necessary. Rock Wrecker easily picks up the knockout. Riperia going to be able to mud slap, farm down everything. And once again, we will be emerging victorious. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we see Skeleadge in the lead. Anyone would think this Pokemon must have had a com day recently, as apparently it's the flavour of the week. This time we opt to save switch into Riperia and out comes Gator. It looks like we attempted to throw the Rock Wrecker. I think that might be an unintentional overtap, but undeterred we're going to invest a Protect Shield and look to fire off back-to-back Rock Wreckers. The first Rock Wrecker forces our Protect Shield back, and the opponent now has a decision to make. Do they want to 2-shield in the mid-game matchup, or do they want to lose switch? Riperia removes Gator from the field of play. Back out comes Skeleadge. Trainer, how weak are you to a Mud Slapper? This opponent, unlike our last, recognised they need to full send a Shadow Ball to remove Riperia from the field of play. We send out Golruk, Mud Slap farm down Skeleadge. It's Enamorus in the back. The opponent wants none of that work, and they run for the hills. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see a battle of fairy types are very much in Galarian Weezing's favour. Since the buff to Sludge, almost all Weezing are running Sludge, potentially, as it's a non-shadow, they might not have Brutal Swing, which would make it a better matchup for our Golruk. We farm up, look to catch a Sludge, onto Riperia, and the opponent actually was baiting with a Brutal Swing, which is brutal. If that wasn't brutal enough, our Riperia is counter-swapped with a Poliwrath. Poliwrath going to be able to get that full counter farm down, but Riperia has at least put it below half health. Enamorus re-enters the arena. Icy Wind or Ice Punch, depending on our moveset, will be in the super effective, and we do see the shield deployed with an overfarm, fire off the fly, looking to move Poliwrath from the field of play. The opponent takes their shield advantage, send back out Galarian Weezing. Again, we attempt to catch a Sludge unsuccessfully. You've got to be kidding me. Out comes yet another Riperia. I don't think I've ever battled a Riperia in the Go Battle League ever, but apparently today's featured battler is seeing mirror matches all over the place. Weezing tanks the charge move. The opponent has essentially give up. They could have reached back-to-back Brutal Swings, but when they threw, a Mud Slap would have snuck, so basically the opponent recognised the game's over and they die with 2 shields. In the next battle, we see Shadow Gator in the lead position. This is kind of where the team wants to see it, not that Anamorous is going to be particularly good into this matchup. But we are going to pace at the same speed to the Fly and Hydro Cannon respectively, and we do win CMP, but we're going to be forced to burn both Protect Shields here in the lead. And I don't really think Golruk or Riperia operate particularly well without shields to hide behind, as they are both insanely glassy. The opponent recognise they will be losing that matchup in the 2-shield scenario, opt to pivot out into Overqwil. I love this Pokemon, but I personally don't have one register my Pokédex. It's a joke. I think you got to raid with Qwilfish as your buddy like 30 times to evolve it, and that is something I have 0 time for. Qwilfish fires off the Aqua Tail, removing Riperia from the field of play. Golruk comes in, Mud Slap farms down. We know Gator is alive, but is energy dry. The opponent sends back out Gator. Golruk going to make quick work of it, outpacing to the Dynamic Punch. Hi Gator, bye Gator, remove yourself from my screen. Out comes Drapion. The opponent looking to reach the crunch, and right on cue, there's the catch. This now gets somewhat dicey. Can we survive the crunch and reach the fly? No, we cannot, but the opponent only gets 3 poison stings through. We're only 1 Mud Slap off the Dynamic Punch, outpacing by a single turn, and we're able to take that game. Another very, very nice win. Heading into the next battle, we see a Tap Charmer in the lead position. We're going to farm up to the Grass Knot bait with the Fly. I don't often bait, but people who run Charmers love to shield everything. The opponent doesn't disappoint, obliging, putting up that Protect Shield. We send out Riperia, and out comes Greninja. Greninja going to be greeted with the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe goes unshielded and gets the attack drop. It looks like we're really hoping the opponent go for a silly Night/bait, but the opponent full send the Hydro Cannon, double super effective damage, easily moving Riperia from the field of play. Anamorous re-enters the arena, unfortunately unable to fair win farm down or get a charge move off, and it's all down to Golruk to 1v2. Out comes Typhlosion. At least this is a decent matchup. That Primarina is probably far too healthy, but let's not write off. But he's funny though, yeah. The opponent ends up throwing on alignment. They full send the Blast Burn, but Primarina, despite being very, very slow to charge move, will eventually reach one, and we've got no shields to hide behind. We fire off the Shadow Punch. Shadow Punch unfortunately doesn't quite cut it. The opponent reaches the Hydro Cannon, and we are going to take a heartbreaking defeat. GG's that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see a fantastic lead. We're double resisting these counters and have the pacing advantage. The opponents stay in a dreadful matchup. So if you're in this scenario, what you need to recognise is the opponent probably has something else that doesn't want to see your lead. With that in mind, we shield at the first Rage Fist, looking to keep Enamorus as healthy as possible. Once again, our featured battler farms up, throws the next fly on the charge attack priority, and just like that, the opponent finds himself all shields down. But he's funny though, more than happy to invest the protect shield. We're thrown on CMP twice, so we need to be careful. The opponent might look to make a catch. There's the attempted catch. We bank our energy and Riperia hits the field of play. Riperia's bulk about to be put to the test. Can we survive a Shadow Ball? Oof, just about. We survived the Shadow Ball. We're able to reach the Rock Wrecker. Oh baby, Rock Wrecker. Massive overkill. Skeleadge gets vanquished. Back to its Pokeball. Out comes Annihilate. Trainer, why are you throwing? The opponent dumps their energy when they really didn't need to. We send out Golruk. Golruk just gets free energy. Out comes Venusaur, and this game is signed, sealed, and delivered. Shadow Punch, of course, won't be lethal, but we'll put them into fly range. We go for the wham, bam, combo play, giving the opponent that little two-piece chicken meal with the milkshake on the side, and fly is going to be all she wrote. Heading into the next battle. We see Shadow Typhlosion in the lead position. Once again, one Fairy Wind and the transfer of the Incinerate onto Riperia. And our Riperia save switch is answered by Optimus Prime, or as most of you probably call it, Zygarde. Zygarde, without a doubt, one of the most annoying and bulky Pokemon in the meta. But Riperia, just with a few Mud Slaps and breaking swipes, does put it below half health. Oh my days, the opponent fires off the Bulldoze, which isn't lethal. Riperia able to fire off the next breaking swipe. Getting them low, putting them in a perfect range for Enamorus to come in and Fairy Wind farm down. I don't think I've ever seen a Pokemon make such quick work of Zygarde. That was kind of mad. Back out comes Typhlosion, the opponent fire off the Thunder Punch. Here we throw one Fairy Wind in the charge move, of course, using a 2-turn move into a 5-turn move. 2 would have been optimal. When you throw one Fairy Wind and your charge move, you give the opponent 3 free turns. When you throw 2, of course, you only give 1 free turn, and that is what you're always looking to do. We're able to catch the Thunder Punch onto Golruk, where it is resisted damage. The opponent then responds with Primarina. Primarina invests that Protect Shield, blocking up the Shadow Punch. Anamorous re-enters the arena, and win from here is very, very simple. Just double up on charge moves. But he's funny though, farms up to the double fly, and you know the drill. One fly will move in Primarina from the field of play. Back out comes Typhlosion. We fire off the one Fairy Wind to maximise our fast move pressure. Not that it's necessary, as Fly easily gets the job done, and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see another Galarian Weezing in the lead position. If anyone can hear any really random background noise, I live in the Midlands in England, and it sounds like we've got a bloody hurricane outside. The wind is absolutely rattling through my house. Let's try and keep on track. We invest a Protect Shield, blocking up the Sludge. We then farm up. Look to make a Sludge catch onto Riperia, where it will be resisted. Sludge does absolutely nothing, but out comes Virizion. Virizion, such a very hard check for Riperia. Grass does resist ground, meaning our usually oppressive Mud Slaps are essentially healing this Virizion. Have the opponent overfarm far too much, enabling us to reach this second break-in swipe, getting them into the red health range. Riperia, to be honest, I didn't have too many high hopes for this thing, but it's been putting in so much work today. The opponent farmed up a boatload of energy. Potentially this could be a Stone Edge. Thankfully it is just a Leaf Blade. Oh boy, I thought we was the ones about to get one shot. The opponent fire off one further Leaf Blade. Anamorous, running out of HP, opts to throw the Fly rather than committing to the farm down. Fly, double super effective damage, and we really need Golurk to be good against not only the lead but whatever's in the back as well. A lot of non-Shadow Weezing don't actually have Brutal Swing. The opponent full send it overheat and then send out Gator. Gator with a shield to hold behind. Going to be a little bit too much for Golurk. Shadow Punch, forced to Protect Shield. We are doubled up. But one Shadow Punch, despite it being buffed, I think like 2 or 3 seasons ago, simply will not cut it. Hydro Cannon, going to be massive overkill, removing us from the field of play. Enamorous going to get Shadow Claw farmed down, and that one does end in defeat. GG's to that opponent. In the next battle, this time we see Virizion in the lead position. The opponent opting to stay in an atrocious matchup. The fighting type damage, double resisted. The grass damage, single resisted. This is such a bad spot for the opponent. Kind of begs the question why they're opting to stay in. This Fly, double super effective, and would probably remove this Virizion, every Virizion that's ever entered the Go Battle League, from the field of play. The opponent invests to Protect Shield. They instantly 2-shield their lead. Oh boy, trainer, what the hell have you got in the back that you're petrified of this Anamorous? We invest a Protect Shield, blocking up the Leaf Blade. We're actually going to double shield our lead, and we need to be really, really careful of the opponent trying to make a catch. We throw 2 Fairy Winds, see the double kick come through, fly, easily going to pick up the knockout. And I think we need to pivot. The opponent sends out Gator. Perhaps we don't need to pivot, as we're going to reach the Grass Knot. How much does Grass Knot do? Oh, fuck. Removing them easily from the field of play. Out comes Giratina. The opponent completely core broken. We send out Riperia. The opponent doesn't want that work, and they concede the match. Excuse my French on YouTube. Don't demonetize another bloody video. Heading into the next battle. So far, this one's looking very much like RPS and not in our favour. As we led Enamorus into Ampharos, we say switched into Riperia, baiting out Poliwrath. It looks like we're actually going to try and realign here. We shield up the Icy Wind. Riperia going to overfarm before firing off the next break-in swipe. Come on, trainer, let it go. You don't need switch, I promise. The opponent does let it go. Riperia looks for the Mud Slap farm down. That potentially is DRE. If that Mud Slap knocks him out, we got really unfortunate. Actually, it was nowhere close. So the opponent was able to get that charge off. Out comes the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Bird of Death. We force in the Rock Wrecker. No! Rock Wrecker picks up the one shot. Holy cow. The opponent put all the hopes and dreams on Ampharos. However, we've got a second Mud Slapper, but unfortunately, we haven't got any shields to hide behind, so we're going to need to make a catch. We farm up, make the catch, back onto Enamorous, but I don't know if that catch saves us. Why are you Brutal Swinging as well? Brutal Swing would have been survivable. I've got no idea why they didn't Trailblaze. We reach the fly, force the opponent's final Protect Shield. We get fully Volt Switch farm down, and we're going to get Trailblaze to the face, and unfortunately, this one is going to end in defeat. But a pretty valiant effort nonetheless. No! Trainer, you have thrown the match. Brutal Swing is a 35 energy charge move for 55 damage. Trailblaze, a 45 energy charge move for 65 damage. Doing 10 more, which would have knocked out. I've got no idea why the opponent didn't Trailblaze there. They must have had the energy. I don't know. Moving on to the next battle. We see Gator in the lead position. We play the one shield, look to fire off the next fly on the CMP type. The opponent catches on Big Squidward. We send out Riperia. Can Riperia Mud Slap farm down before the next gold is reached? Or at least the first gold. And the answer to that is no. Riperia gets one shot vanquished. Back to its Pokeball. This Gator with a charge move bank is going to be a problem. We send out Golruk. Golruk gets a small energy lead with that Mud Slap farm down. The opponent sends back out Gator. They don't throw at the best timing. We are going to invest a Protect Shield, blocking up the Hydro Cannon. We're then going to farm up. It looks like once again we've overtapped, but end up playing to CMP. And I guess that kind of works for us. Shadow Punch forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. And it's all going to be down to Enamorous to clean up. Enamorous has no energy and hardly any health. Wait, hold that thought. Perhaps we don't need health. Out comes Dragonite. Is Fly going to pick up the one-hit KO? Yes, it is. Can we Fairy Wind farm down or reach a Fly? No. Oh! Such a close game, but unfortunately that one does end in defeat. GG's that opponent. In the next battle, we see the channel mascot Drapion in the lead position. We say switch into Riperia and out comes Gator. There is no bait in Rock Wrecker. Boo, Mr. Opponent. Unfortunately forces the first Protect Shield of the game. These Mod Slaps doing absurd damage to Gator. Holy cow. Opponent fire off the Hydro Cannon. Of course, one shot on us. That is double super effective damage. We send back out Enamorous. Enamorous going to be investing in a Protect Shield. We correctly shot the Ice Beam. This should enable us to overfarm. We do exactly that. Perfect overfarm, throwing the Fly on the CMP tie. Fly removes Gator from the field of play. And now that Drapion matchup doesn't look too scary, as we have got the energy lead. Back out comes Drapion. Drapion going to be greeted with the Fly. Fly goes unshielded, rocking them into the red health. Looks like Heisfunnyisfunnytho going to save the final Protect Shield for Golruk, but actually fire off the Crunch, which is survival. And we see the Silent swap with Golruk into the Panda Bear. Of course, you never want to shield the first move in case the opponent get the boost. Night Slash goes unshielded. These Mod Slaps doing crazy damage. Golruk is such an offensive Pokemon. We're going to shield up the next Night Slash. We're going for the Shadow Punch bait, although I'm not entirely sure it's even a bait at this point. Shadow Punch forces the Protect Shield. We then throw one further Mud Slap. And the Shadow Punch. Shadow Punch is resisted, but will move in the Panda Bear from the field of play. Drapion gets Mud Slap farm down, and Golruk like an absolute boss on cleanup duty. GG's. In the next battle, we see Cobalion in the lead position. The opponent say switch into Typhlosion, and Typhlosion is very quickly hard countered by Riperia. Riperia farms up, fires off the break-in swipe, forces the Protect Shield as the opponent looks to realign. Blast Burn will be single resisted due to the fact that Rock does resist fire, and the Thunder Punch will be double resisted as ground, double resists electric. The opponent invests the Protect Shield, unable to realign, back out comes Cobalion. We fire off the Rock Wrecker, which is resisted, to my surprise, forcing a Protect Shield. We then send out Golurk. Golurk going to be a complete wall to Cobalion, and it's Gator in the back. We're going to see the first Protect Shield deployed, blocking up the incoming Hydro Cannon. We then pivot out into Enamorus. The opponent recognises the game's over and concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Swampert in the lead position, exactly where the team wants to see it. Although a lot of Swampert will be running Sludge. Hopefully this is not a Sludge variant. Thankfully, it's only a Hydro Cannon, which is survivable. The opponent's going to have a very, very tough time trying to Mudshot farm down a Flyer, despite this Flyer being very glassy. We farm to the grass knot, throw the Fly. The opponent call the bait, which is kind of ruthless for us, as we're now forced to invest the Protect Shield. Shoot at the next Hydro Cannon. We're then going to over farm, look to fire off the Fly. Is the opponent going to fight for alignment? Yes, they are. Fly forced to Protect Shield, but we're doubled up. Enamorous able to win the charge attack priority. The opponent 2-shield Swampert. I think at this point you just save your shields for your Mud Slappers and hope this is the only Mud Slap answer, or I should say ground answer. Golruk comes in, gets that Mud Slap farm down. Oh, that's tough. Out comes Galarian Moltres. With 2 Mud Slappers in the back, we are applying so very little fast move pressure. Dynamic Punch goes unshielded. We see the pivot into Riperia. Riperia going to fully wall these charge moves. I'm not entirely sure why the opponent's throwing, although that Brave Bird, to be fair, didn't look all that resisted. Out comes Florges. Florges going to fire off the Trailblaze. Riperia, of course, going to be investing in the Protect Shield. We're then going to throw 3 Mud Slaps and the Rock Wrecker as it's straight fires. We opt for 2, but that's fine. This Rock Wrecker should still be lethal. Rock Wrecker picks up the knockout, back out comes Moltres. Moltres going to be greeted with the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe isn't quite lethal. We pivot into Golurk. Golurk gets that double resisted Mud Slap farm down, and we take that game. What the hell is on my screen? Kyogre. I have never seen this thing in the Ultra League either. What is it doing here? To be fair, these waterfalls are tearing through our HP. If the opponent 2-shield this whale, I think we're probably going to reach the top left, as neither our back 2 Pokemon are going to appreciate the waterfall damage. Thankfully, the opponent just let it go and then send out... Is that Yveltal? What is Yveltal doing? Is this person running a Master League team in the Ultra League? Oh my gosh, Enamorous completely running through the team. Rhydon. This person has got to be submitting like some sort of Battle of Spice to Callum on Toast. This team was wild, and Enamorous able to sweep the entirety of the team. But GG's to that opponent, love the team. Heading into the final battle, we see a beautiful lead. Enamorous into Dragonite. The opponent sends out Venusaur. Oh gosh. Is Enamorous going to go back-to-back sweeping entire teams? A Fly forces the protection. Of course, we do need to be mindful of a potential Sludge Bomb. The opponent continue to overfarm, allow Enamorous to reach the second Fly, and the opponent very quickly find himself all shields down. We're going to invest the protection. The opponent bait with the Frenzy Plant. I'm not counting. I don't even know if it's a Frenzy Plant or a Sludge Bomb, but we're going to respect it. This time the opponent full send the Sludge Bomb. Switch time is up. They pivot into Skeleadge and Riperia hits the field of play. Riperia wastes no time firing off the Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe won't be lethal and unfortunately doesn't get the debuff either. We have seen previously that we tank a Shadow Ball. Not well, but it is survivable. Riperia gets the Mud Slap farm down, leaving minimal farm for whatever should return. Venusaur re-enters the arena. Enamorous with loaded energy hits the field of play. We fire off the Fly. Hi Venusaur, bye Venusaur. Dragonite not going to appreciate this work, and the opponent concedes the match. Holy cow, what a showcase. The last couple of videos I uploaded have been kind of try hard. Well, not try hard, but quite serious teams. This one was supposed to be a meme team, but I'll be honest, they put in so much work and made for some incredibly fun battles. And with that being said, that pretty much wraps things up for today's shoutcast. So enjoy my content, smash that like button if you're new, consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. A link to my battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.